Imagine a man whose determination changed the course of South Asian history forever. A man who began his journey as a brilliant lawyer, rose to become one of the most respected political leaders of his time, and ultimately led millions of people toward the creation of a new nation. This is the remarkable story of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, affectionately known as Quaid-e-Azam, meaning the great leader. Muhammad Ali Jinnah is remembered as the founder of Pakistan and one of the most influential political figures of the 20th century. His leadership, vision, and unwavering commitment played a decisive role in establishing an independent homeland for the Muslims of the Indian subcontinent. However, Jinnah's journey was far from easy. It was filled with challenges, disagreements, political struggles, and countless negotiations. Despite facing criticism from opponents, personal hardships, and declining health, he remained steadfast in pursuing what he believed was the best future for millions of Muslims. Unlike many leaders who relied on emotional speeches or revolutionary movements, Jinnah believed in constitutional methods, legal arguments, discipline, and political negotiation. His sharp intellect and exceptional legal skills earned him immense respect among both his supporters and political rivals. Even today, decades after his passing, Muhammad Ali Jinnah remains one of the most studied and discussed leaders in world history. His speeches continue to inspire generations, and his vision for a democratic, peaceful, and progressive Pakistan remains relevant to this day. In this documentary, we will explore every stage of his extraordinary life, from his birth and childhood in Karachi to his education in London, his successful legal career, his rise in politics, his leadership during the Pakistan movement, the creation of Pakistan, his final days, and the lasting legacy he left behind. This is not just the story of one man. It is the story of determination, leadership, sacrifice, and the birth of a nation. Let's begin our journey by traveling back to the year 1876, when the future founder of Pakistan first entered the world.
The story of Muhammad Ali Jinnah begins on the 25th of December 1876, in the bustling port city of Karachi, which was then part of British India and is now Pakistan's largest city. At the time, Karachi was rapidly developing into an important commercial center, attracting traders and merchants from different regions. It was in this vibrant environment that the future founder of Pakistan was born. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was born into a Khoja Muslim family. His father, Jinnah Punja, was a successful merchant involved in trade and business. His mother, Mithabai, was a caring and religious woman who played an important role in shaping the values of her children. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was the eldest of 7 siblings, and from an early age, he was expected to set an example for his younger brothers and sisters. As a child, Jinnah was known for being quiet, observant, and independent. Unlike many children of his age, he was serious in nature and preferred listening carefully before speaking. His family recognized his intelligence and believed he had the potential to achieve great success. Karachi in the late 19th century was a city where people from different cultures, religions, and languages lived and worked together. Growing up in such a diverse environment helped Jinnah develop an understanding of different communities and strength and his ability to communicate with people from various backgrounds. His father hoped that Muhammad Ali Jinnah would eventually help manage the family's business. To prepare him for this future, he encouraged his son to receive a good education and develop discipline, honesty, and responsibility. These qualities would later become defining characteristics of Jinnah's personality. Even as a young boy, Jinnah displayed confidence and determination. He was not easily influenced by others and often preferred making his own decisions after careful thought. Friends and teachers noticed that he possessed remarkable self-confidence and maturity beyond his years. Although no one at the time could have imagined it, the young boy growing up in Karachi would one day become the leader of millions and play a central role in creating a new nation. As Jinnah grew older, his parents realized that education would be the key to unlocking his potential. This decision marked the beginning of a journey that would eventually take him from the streets of Karachi to the prestigious law schools of London. Muhammad Ali Jinnah's education laid the foundation for the remarkable leader he would later become. From an early age, his parents believed that a strong education would prepare him for a successful future in business and public life. Jinnah first attended Sindh Madrasas Islam in Karachi, one of the city's most respected educational institutions. The school emphasized discipline, moral values, and academic excellence. Here, Jinnah developed an interest in learning and demonstrated a sharp mind, although he was known to be reserved and independent. Later, he continued his education at the Christian Mission School in Karachi. Studying in different educational environments exposed him to students and teachers from diverse cultural and religious backgrounds. This experience broadened his perspective and strengthened his ability to understand different viewpoints, an ability that would later prove invaluable in politics. When Jinnah was 16 years old, his father decided to send him to London, England, to gain experience in business and expand his horizons. Before leaving for England in 1892, Jinnah entered into an arranged marriage with Bai, as was customary at the time. Sadly, while Jinnah was away in England, both his young wife and his mother passed away. These personal losses deeply affected him, though he rarely spoke about them publicly. London was unlike anything Jinnah had ever experienced. It was one of the world's greatest cities, filled with grand buildings, bustling streets, and important institutions. Although he had initially traveled to learn about business, Jinnah soon discovered a passion for law, inspired by the British legal system and its emphasis on justice and constitutional principles. He decided to pursue a legal career. He enrolled at Lincoln's Inn, one of the 4 prestigious inns of court responsible for training barristers in England. According to a popular story, Jinnah chose Lincoln's Inn because he admired the display of great lawgivers at its entrance, where the name of the Prophet Muhammad was said to be included. While historians debate this story, there is no doubt that Jinnah was proud of his heritage and deeply committed to his legal studies. Jinnah devoted himself to learning. He spent long hours reading legal books, studying court procedures, and observing experienced lawyers. His discipline, determination, and exceptional memory helped him excel. At just 19 years of age, he became one of the youngest Indians to qualify as a barrister in England, a remarkable achievement for someone so young. During his years in London, Jinnah also developed a keen interest in politics. He attended debates in the British Parliament, where he observed renowned political leaders discussing laws, governance, and democracy. These experiences shaped his belief in constitutional methods, reasoned debate, and the rule of law principles that would define his entire political career. By 1896, after completing his legal education, Muhammad Ali Jinnah returned to India. He was no longer the quiet boy from Karachi. He had transformed into a confident, highly educated barrister, ready to begin a career that would eventually change the destiny of millions. After qualifying as a barrister in England, Muhammad Ali Jinnah returned to India in 1896. He chose Bombay, now Mumbai, as the place to begin his legal career. At the time, Bombay was one of the most important commercial and legal centers in British India. Although he possessed an excellent education, success did not come immediately. In the beginning, Jinnah faced many challenges. As a young lawyer with little experience and few professional connections, he struggled to attract clients. Days often passed without a single case. Despite these difficulties, he never lost confidence in his abilities. Instead of giving up, he devoted his time to studying legal precedents, observing senior advocates in court, and refining his skills. Jinnah believed that success came through preparation, discipline, and hard work. Every case, no matter how small, was handled with exceptional care. His calm personality, logical thinking, and powerful arguments soon caught the attention of judges and fellow lawyers. Over the next few years, his reputation grew rapidly. He became known as one of the finest lawyers in Bombay, admired for his professionalism, honesty, and deep understanding of the law. Clients from different communities sought his legal advice, and his courtroom performances earned widespread respect. One of Jinnah's greatest strengths was his ability to remain calm under pressure. He rarely relied on emotion or dramatic speeches. Instead, he focused on facts, evidence, and clear legal reasoning. This disciplined approach became the hallmark of both his legal and political careers. As his success increased, Jinnah also became financially secure. He established a respected legal practice, purchased a home in Bombay, and became one of the city's leading barristers. Yet, despite his achievements, he believed that his responsibilities extended beyond the courtroom. During this period, India was witnessing a growing demand for political reform. Many educated Indians sought greater representation in government and equal rights under British rule. Jinnah became increasingly interested in these discussions and began attending political meetings. In 1906, he attended a session of the Indian National Congress, one of the leading political organizations of British India. At that time, the Congress aimed to secure constitutional reforms and greater participation for Indians in governance. Jinnah admired its commitment to lawful and democratic methods. Unlike many political leaders of the era, Jinnah believed that progress could be achieved through dialogue, negotiation, and constitutional change rather than violence. His legal background shaped his political philosophy, and he consistently argued that laws and institutions should protect the rights of all communities. Because of his balanced views and his ability to work with people from different backgrounds, Jinnah earned the respect of both Hindu and Muslim leaders. In the early years of his political career, he became known as an advocate for Hindu-Muslim unity, believing that cooperation between the two communities was essential for India's future. This reputation would soon earn him a distinguished place in Indian politics. However, as political tensions continued to grow in the years ahead, Jinnah's vision and leadership would undergo a profound transformation, one that would ultimately lead to the creation of Pakistan. By the early 20th century, Muhammad Ali Jinnah had established himself as both an outstanding lawyer and a respected political leader. His speeches were clear, logical, and persuasive, earning him admiration across British India. At this stage of his career, Jinnah believed that the rights of all Indians regardless of religion could be protected within a united constitutional system. Although he was a member of the Indian National Congress, Jinnah also recognized the importance of representing the concerns of India's Muslim population. In 1913, he formally joined the All India Muslim League while continuing his association with the Congress. His goal was not to create division but to build cooperation between the two major political organizations. Jinnah firmly believed that Hindus and Muslims could work together to achieve political reforms. He spent years encouraging dialogue and compromise, earning the title the Ambassador of Hindu-Muslim Unity. This reputation reached its height in 1916, when the Congress and the Muslim League signed the Lucknow Pact. The Lucknow Pact was a historic agreement in which both organizations accepted several constitutional reforms and agreed on a framework for political representation. Jinnah played a key role in negotiating the agreement, and many believed it marked the beginning of a new era of cooperation between the two communities. However, the years that followed brought increasing political disagreements. Different leaders had different visions for India's future. Jinnah disagreed with some of the methods adopted by Mahatma Gandhi, particularly the use of large-scale civil disobedience and mass protest movements. As a lawyer, Jinnah preferred constitutional negotiations, legislative reforms, and legal processes rather than political campaigns based on civil resistance. Throughout the 1920s, relations between the Congress and the Muslim League became increasingly strained. Many Muslim leaders feared that, in a future independent India with a Hindu majority, Muslims might not receive adequate political representation or constitutional safeguards. In response to these concerns, Jinnah presented his famous 14 points in 1929. These proposals outlined constitutional protections for Muslims, including provincial autonomy, religious freedom, and fair political representation. Although the 14 points did not resolve the political disagreements, they became an important milestone in Muslim political thought and reflected Jinnah's continued search for a constitutional solution. Disappointed by the growing political deadlock, Jinnah temporarily moved to London in the early 1930s, where he resumed his legal practice. Many believed his political career had ended. However, Muslim leaders from across India repeatedly urged him to return and provide leadership during a time of uncertainty. Responding to their appeals, Jinnah returned to India in 1934. He reorganized the All India Muslim League, strengthened its structure, and transformed it into a disciplined political organization. Under his leadership, the League expanded rapidly, attracting support from Muslims across different provinces. Jinnah's return marked a turning point. The experienced lawyer who had once devoted himself to Hindu-Muslim unity was now increasingly convinced that stronger constitutional guarantees or perhaps an entirely new political arrangement would be necessary to protect the rights and future of Muslims in the Indian subcontinent. The stage was now set for one of the most significant chapters in South Asian history, the demand for a separate homeland that would eventually become Pakistan. After returning to India and reorganizing the Muslim League, Muhammad Ali Jinnah focused on strengthening Muslim political unity. A major turning point came with the 1937 provincial elections, held under the Government of India Act of 1935. The Congress won power in several provinces, while the Muslim League performed poorly in many areas. However, the experience convinced Jinnah that Muslims needed a stronger and more united political platform. He argued that Muslims were not merely a religious minority but a distinct nation with their own political, cultural, and historical identity. Over the next few years, Jinnah traveled extensively across India, addressing large gatherings and explaining the League's vision. His speeches emphasized constitutional rights, political representation, and protection of Muslim interests. The most important moment came in March 1940, when the Muslim League held its historic session in Lahore. There, the famous Lahore Resolution was passed. The resolution called for independent states in the Muslim-majority regions of northwestern and eastern India. Although the word Pakistan was not used in the resolution itself, it became the foundation of the Pakistan movement. Jinnah declared that Hindus and Muslims belonged to two different nations and should have the freedom to determine their own future. As World War II continued, negotiations between Indian leaders and the British government became increasingly complex. Jinnah emerged as the undisputed leader of Muslim India. His disciplined leadership and clear political strategy transformed the Muslim League into a powerful national movement. By the mid-1940s, the demand for Pakistan had gained massive public support. Millions of Muslims now looked to Jinnah as the leader who could secure their political future. After World War II ended, Britain decided to transfer power in India. Several attempts were made to find a constitutional settlement that would keep India united. In 1946, the British government sent the cabinet mission to negotiate with the Congress and the Muslim League. Jinnah initially accepted the mission's plan because it offered significant autonomy to Muslim-majority regions. However, disagreements soon emerged over the interpretation of the plan. As negotiations collapsed, political tensions intensified across the subcontinent. Realizing that a united arrangement was becoming impossible, the British government introduced the Mountbatten Plan in June 1947, which proposed the partition of India. Jinnah accepted the plan, believing that it provided the best opportunity for Muslims to achieve self-determination. On 14 August 1947, Pakistan officially came into existence. Muhammad Ali Jinnah became the first Governor-General of Pakistan. Standing before the Constituent Assembly, he delivered one of the most important speeches of his life. He emphasized equality before the law, religious freedom, and the responsibility of building a modern democratic state. The creation of Pakistan was a historic achievement, but it also brought enormous challenges. Partition led to one of the largest migrations in human history. Millions of people crossed borders, and widespread violence caused immense suffering. Jinnah worked tirelessly to restore order, assist refugees, and establish the foundations of the new nation. Despite his declining health, he devoted nearly all of his energy to the task of nation-building.
When Pakistan was created, it inherited limited financial resources, weak administrative structures, and a massive refugee crisis. The new government had to establish ministries, courts, armed forces, and public institutions almost from scratch. Jinnah believed that the success of Pakistan depended on discipline, honesty, and national unity. He repeatedly urged citizens to put the interests of the country above personal or provincial loyalties. One of his most famous mottos was, "Faith, unity, discipline." He encouraged government officials to serve the people with integrity and warned against corruption, favoritism, and political divisions. Jinnah also emphasized the importance of education, economic development, and equal citizenship. In his speeches, he expressed the hope that Pakistan would become a progressive state where people of all religions could live peacefully under the protection of the law. Although the country faced enormous difficulties, Jinnah remained optimistic about Pakistan's future and continued working long hours despite serious health problems. For many years, Muhammad Ali Jinnah had been suffering from tuberculosis, but his illness was kept largely secret. Only a small number of close associates knew the true extent of his condition. The intense workload of leading the Pakistan movement and establishing a new country placed tremendous strain on his health. By 1948, he had become visibly weak, yet he continued attending meetings and making important decisions. In the summer of 1948, doctors advised him to rest in Zairat, a hill station in present-day Balochistan. Although the cooler climate provided temporary relief, his condition continued to deteriorate. On 11 September 1948, Muhammad Ali Jinnah returned to Karachi. Later that evening, he passed away at the age of 71. News of his death shocked the nation. Millions of Pakistanis mourned the loss of the man who had led them to independence. He was buried in Karachi, where his mausoleum, Mazar-e-Quaid, now stands as one of Pakistan's most important national monuments. Muhammad Ali Jinnah's life was a remarkable journey, from a young student in Karachi to a barrister in London, from a successful lawyer in Bombay to the founder of Pakistan. His leadership transformed a political movement into an independent nation. Whether admired for his legal brilliance, his discipline, or his determination, Jinnah remains one of the most influential figures in South Asian history. Today, his vision continues to inspire millions of people. His message of constitutional governance, national unity, and public service remains deeply relevant. As Pakistan's founder, Quaid-e-Azam left behind more than a country. He left behind an idea that a determined people, guided by leadership and purpose, can shape their own destiny. More than 7 decades after his passing, the name of Muhammad Ali Jinnah continues to command respect, not only in Pakistan, but across the world. This was the complete story of Quaid-e-Azam, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the man who turned a dream into a nation.